For the cottage pie, you need 1 onion, 1 carrot, 3 medium potatoes. Optional is some cabbage, 250 grams of lean minced beef, a dessert spoon of plain flour, a dessert spoon of tomato puree, and 1 stock cube made up into 300 ml of water. However, I have got double that ingredients because I'm feeding 4 hungry people. Your key here, your aim, is to dice your onion, carrot and celery into the size of petit pois. You do not want big, massive chunks of this. This is your quality control. If you were buying the ultimate cottage pie from M&S, you would not want a big lump of carrot like that. So I am looking for you to have them all diced evenly. Also, when they're small, the carrot, which is a starchy vegetable, will break down into the cottage pie mixture and it will make your meat base rich and flavoursome. I'm just going to preheat a small amount of oil to fry my mince off because I've got a lean minced beef. If you had a 20% or 15% fat beef, then you probably wouldn't need to add any oil at all because the fat within the meat would be enough to fry it off. So I'm going to start off by frying off the meat. I'm just going to break it up with my spatula. With your mince all nicely broken up, because you don't want those chewy lumps in there, you can add your onions so that it cooks at the same time as your mince. The fat in the mince will just help to saute off your onion. Cook it on a nice low heat. This is one of those comfort dishes that needs to be cooked slowly so that the flavours intensify. Whilst your meat is browning away, I have just crumbled my 2 stock cubes up in here and I am adding boiling water. This will make the stock to make the gravy of the cottage pie. 300 ml if you're following the recipe, but I have done double. Give it a stir so the stock cube breaks up. Once your mince is nice and browned all over and broken up, add your dessert spoon of flour. I've got 2, so I'm going to add 2. This will form the base of your roux. So roux as in when we make a cheese sauce, but we also have a roux when we make a gravy. You need a starch, a fat and a liquid. Here the starch is the flour, the fat is from the beef and the liquid is our stock. This will then thicken our gravy. Just make sure that meat's broken up because I will add my stock bit by bit, stir it and combine it all. If you check that you haven't got stock cubes stuck at the bottom, just pull those out. Give it a good stir, and then what will happen is, as that boils, the starch molecules, when they reach 60 degrees, they will start to absorb the liquid, then they will swell and rupture and thicken the sauce. You can also add your tomato puree at this point. 1, 2. I've got a little bit of red wine left over, so I'm going to add a splash of that to enrich it. Stir it. This very liquidy grey looking sauce will darken, but you need to cook it over a slow heat for a while. While this is boiling away, I'm going to add my carrot and my celery so they cook through and melt down and break down into the sauce. I'm going to turn the heat down and put a lid on. By putting the lid on, it will stop it burning and sticking to the bottom. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my potatoes. I'm just going to prepare my potatoes for the topping. When a recipe says something like 3 potatoes, you need to use your common sense. You need to look at the amount of potato you've got and think, will this feed 4 people or 2 people? Because you can get small potatoes, you can get large potatoes, so you need to think, right, okay, well, that's quite a small one. One person would probably eat that amount and judge it from there. You also, once you've peeled them, need to do a quality control check over your potato, making sure you remove any eyes or any remaining skin, because this will give an unwanted texture and appearance. It's important that you chop or dice the potato to similar sizes so that when you boil them, they cook at the same rate. If I put a piece of potato in this size, if all the potato was that size, it would take a very long time to cook. If I mixed it in with the smaller sizes, these would cook very quickly and this would be undercooked and you would get lumpy potato. So in a large pan, I'm just going to put these potatoes in, breaking them up. So potatoes tend to stick together. I've pre-boiled the kettle, not that eco-friendly, but I've pre-boiled the kettle to speed things up, and I'm pouring boiling water over them. Now, I add salt to my water. Potatoes are porous, and if you put some salt in the water, they will take on the seasoning. Controversy, I think adding salt to food like this is seasoning. It is hidden salt in ready meals and snacks that you need to be more aware of. That amount of salt is far less than the amount of salt you would find in something like a cereal bar. We will just have a look at the beef mixture. It's already starting to change colour. I give it a stir, make sure it's not sticking to the bottom. Season this as well, just a pinch. And I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce to give it a little bit of a zhuzh. You can see that this is starting to thicken more. We need to allow it to cook for longer because these carrots will still be quite raw in there. I'm actually going to add a handful of some yellow split peas. I don't have any lentils. This will help to increase the fibre, which will give us a healthy digestive system and to help lower cholesterol. To check if your potatoes are cooked, just take a knife and just see if they cut, and see if the knife cuts freely through the potatoes. If they're not, you will feel that they are still quite raw. They feel cooked to me. So I'm going to drain them in a colander. My meat mixture's been cooking for about half an hour. You can see now that the starch has ruptured and caused gelatinization, making the sauce thickened. I think you could just double check that the carrots are cooked through, but this will go in the oven for more cooking. Yes, they're cooked through. So you could add some petit pois at this point, or some other vegetables. Don't forget to season. I'm just going to, the potatoes are draining in a colander. I'm just going to place a knob of butter in the pan. On the heat retained in the pan will melt that butter off. I've let my potatoes drain for a good 5 minutes. It's really important that you let all that excess moisture drain out, otherwise you will get sloppy potato. Stop laughing at me, Mr. Lewis. I've had to recruit him to mash my potato because my muscles are feeling weak in lockdown. This is a ricer. We just push the potato through and you get a much finer potato. Come on, hurry up. Open the top and push. This is a ricer that you have seen in previous other videos, but I recruited Mr. Lewis to help and he's broken my ricer. He's used so much force, he's bent the bottom plate.
I reckon the potatoes are too hard myself.
Rubbish. So he is now going to buy me a new ricer. So now I've just got over the trauma of my ricer being broken, I'm just going to add a splash of milk and stir my potato. You could add some more seasoning at this point, but remember we put some salt in the potato when we boiled them, so the best thing to do is to taste, and if you think it needs more salt, then season it. So I've put my meat in an ovenware dish. My oven is preheated to 180 degrees and I am going to dollop my potato over the pie. If I put it all in the middle, then there would be too much weight and it would sink. So we need to distribute it. So with the potato dolloped over the top, I'm just going to ease it gently around with a fork. You need to be careful because you can see if you push too hard, it will sink. And once your potato is relatively evenly distributed, you can then go over with a fork backwards to spread it out and also to score it, because what will happen, doesn't matter if some of the juice comes up over here, where you get this ridge effect, you will get a lovely crispy top when this goes in the oven. There we go, it's been in the oven about 20 minutes, it's got a crispy golden top, and what I really like is the gravy oozing and bubbling around the edge, which also gives it a slightly crusty texture.